one minute you can see, and the next minute it's like every time I shift my, I'm doing something over here and I'm doing something really fast and whatnot, like I'll start getting anxiety because I'm like, wait, what am I doing? Like I can't, because I lose vision. I lose. Hello, and thank you for clicking on the video. I'm trying to be more consistent. I really don't like recording because I'm a perfectionist and I'm like, what lighting and what time and all this stuff, but y'all about to get these videos and y'all about to get them how I'm about to give them to y'all, because that's just my life, and I want my channel to be raw, real. I don't want to do a lot of edits. Like, I'm lazy. And on top of having MS, I don't got time for that. Like, I don't got time to be doing all of that. Maybe I'll, might can hear kids in the background. Like, my window open, it's hot today. So, let's get into my story for today. So, the last 2 months, I just turned 28 on June 19th. I'm a Juneteenth baby. And 2 weeks before my birthday, I ended up in the hospital. This time around, I really didn't want a lot of people to know. I was in a very, very low space emotionally. And when I ended up in the hospital, it was like the cherry on top. It broke the camel's back. So a lot of people didn't know I was in the hospital, and even my family, I didn't want to let people know it because I was just so overwhelmed. But I had to go in, and definitely I was having an active MS attack, and yeah, so I went in June 6th. I actually had a MRI schedule outpatient on the 7th, and that would have been my year MRI. It's suggested that you get when you have MS, you should get an MRI once a year, just to keep track of if damages are happening. And I did my own protocol. I knew my body. So one thing about spending a year and a half, almost, so year and 3 months, without any medication, without any type of therapy, and somebody on their moped. It's annoying. So, but a year and a half without being on any medication, I have learned exactly what MS does. I know my triggers. I know what it feels like when I'm in a flare-up. So when it was time for me to go into the hospital, I knew. I, told my dad, hey, can you take me to the emergency? I need to go get some steroids because I'm having a flare-up. I didn't know it was an attack, though. That was the piece that kind of, I didn't think they were going to say, oh, yeah, by the way, you have new lesions on your brain, and they're active, so we need to speed this process up. And I want to do a video on just my experiences in the ER and going to doctor's appointments. So I'm not going to go in detail about like how I got there and whatnot and like the process, but when I got there, definitely I was in an MS attack, and I had to stay for actually 5 days instead of my normal 3, which I ended up not staying the whole 5 days, because on the 4th day, my blood pressure spiked like to stroke level. Like, my blood pressure was crazy high, and I have perfect blood pressure. Like, I have the blood pressure that people be like, oh my god, you have really good blood pressure. So for my blood pressure to be in stroke territory definitely was a red flag, and I was telling them that I did not want to continue the steroids. After 3 days, my inflammation goes down on steroids. So that 4th day, I think it was just full overload for my body. And sure enough, the next morning, they went to go flush my IV, and my whole IV was blue. I have small veins. They're good veins, really good veins, but they're small. And after 4 days of just sitting in there and being in there, it went bad. IV went bad, and they were taking blood from my other arm consistently while I was there. So that, no. So I guess I have to do a whole nother video on that, like how that process is of telling the doctors and telling the people in the emergency, like, I'm done, send me home. Like, that was literally what I told them, like, I'm not taking the last dose and send me home. That was a whole journey, but I digress with that one. So since then, I have been trying to recover. I have been dealing with a lot of just readjustment. I think when my year anniversary came around, it was kind of a hard reminder, a tough reality. Like, this is it. This is what you gotta deal with. This is what you gotta do. And then when I found out I had new lesions on my brain, this is it. This is what you have to do. So I told myself that after a year of studying and being very present with myself and with my body and understanding and trying on these holistic and naturopathic remedies that I adjusted to, in which I would say I pat myself on the back, even though clinically everyone looks at me crazy, but I pat myself on the back. I went 10 months without a flare-up, and I was not on any medication. And I can say, for the most part, I know what happened, and I can do a video about that too, because it's not what this video about. This is just my two-month update. So yeah, I had new lesions, and I had to make a decision. And I made a decision to start a DMT, a drug modifying therapy. So we go through that process. My doctor, he wanted me to be on type whatever these drugs are that I'm not taking, but he wanted me to be on that one. Too high of a risk for PML, which is a brain disease, and I unfortunately have history of brain disease in my family. We were going to do Ocrevus, but when I read that it's unknown if women who are trying to conceive or who conceive, what the impacts of the drug on a fetus, I didn't want to take that risk. I am in my childbearing years, and I want kids eventually one day, and I don't got time to be worried about if this drug is going to impact my child. So I'm a forward thinking person. So if I know that I would want, I'm not doing it. So I went with Copaxone. Copaxone is a injection, and they told me 3 times a week, but insurance came back and said, you gotta take it every day. So this is what I've been dealing with, is getting adjusted to a DMT, a new drug, and yeah. So here we are. In the midst of waiting for prescriptions and, you know, everything go through, I had another flare up in July. And at the end of July. So like, I think this flare up started about 2 weeks ago, dated to this video. So probably, yeah. So yeah, the end of last week of July, I started going into another flare up. And I noticed that I was having this crazy pain in the back of my eye, back of this eye, and it was crazy. And my vision was like, it was crazy. The pain was like horrible. Like my whole face will go numb. I'm in the mirror feeling my face, making sure because I didn't know if I was having a stroke or what. Like, I didn't know. So, scariest thing ever, right? And this happened right before my cycle came. So, my cycle came, I was having a flare up, and it didn't go away. And I noticed that my vision was not okay in this eye. As you see, I wear glasses, and I would like take my glasses off and look, and I'm like, there's no difference. Like, there wasn't no difference. But so sent my doctor a very detailed email where I included how long it has been happening, what I've been doing, what seems to be working, what doesn't seem to be working, and what does he expect for me to do. And he wrote back and said, you're having inflammation in your optic nerve, and I need to put you on a round of steroids, because that's the only way to bring the inflammation down, so it doesn't keep damaging your eye. Fun stuff, right? So okay, so I go and get steroids. I did it outpatient, and the first day I go in, we cannot get a vein at all. Like, I was poked 4 times until we got it right. Tore up, like I still have like a little bit of the bruises on there. Good thing for melanin that it didn't show up too well, but it was horrible. It was horrible. I started beauty school the same week, quit beauty school the same week, and I guess that was another piece of MS that I'm just not ready to deal with, is not being able to chase after my dreams. So the past 2 months, I've really just been isolating myself, because emotionally I'm just not okay. No one around me can relate, because I'm the first person in my family to have this illness that I know of. And one thing with MS, I feel that a lot of us experience, is the loneliness and the piece of just not having people really understand, like at this moment, this eye, yeah, like that peripheral, And to email your doctor and have a conversation with your doctor, like, okay, well, will it come back? Does it come back? Like, what does it say? What is it? Does the DMT help? Like, he's like, if it come back, it's gonna be like a year. If it come back, we've been seeing it that it could take up to a year. God forbid that it doesn't take that long and that it comes back and I can recover my nerves. But one thing about nerves and MS is when damage is done, it's so many nerves in our body. When damage is done in certain areas, your brain has a hard time reconnecting the wires again. So that was something that I definitely had to like get through and had to figure out, like, oh my goodness, like I can't see sometimes, and that's just the reality, with my glasses or without them. And readjusting and telling myself, like, you can do this and it's okay to start over and it's okay to go back to the drawing board when you've been at the drawing board for the past year and 3 months, and it's okay, is all I've been trying to tell myself in this past few months. I am a birthday person. I love birthdays. I love my birthday especially. It's my favorite holiday. And my birthday is my representation of my new year. So when I turn a new year, that's my new year. And everything that I wanted to accomplish in the year didn't happen. And starting over is hard, especially when now I have limitations. One thing about me is I've always just a go-getter, just go get it, go get it, go get it, go get it. And like, if I lose it, I go get it. If I can't figure it out, I go get, like, MS limits that. And it doesn't feel good when you've been like this your whole life, and then you have to readjust and you have to maneuver a certain type of way, and you have to watch how much you put on your plate. Like, I'm one of them people, I'm multifaceted. I can literally do anything if I put my mind to it. And that's just one of my talents to have. But I'm like, I can't take on a lot of stuff without my body crashing on me. So starting a DMT was heartbreaking. When I got the box, I cried for like 2 days. Because you know how people say, like, it's not real until you see it, or it's not real, like, it wasn't real until it was in my hands. Like, I knew it was coming. Well, it took a minute to come, but I had to tell people about that too. So again, I can make a whole video about how to talk through issues with your medical team and with the people that's supposed to be doing, because everybody has a job. And as a person with a chronic illness, I tell people a lot of time, like, I'm not trying to be the doctor, the nurse, and the patient. Let me be the patient, and y'all hold yourselves to a standard to make sure that y'all are giving great care. And a lot of times that's not happening. So we do have to advocate for ourselves, and we do have to step up, and we have to say, excuse me, people, get it together. So yeah, so now I am at the space and at the phase where I have to start all the way over again. Because my vision changed, and it doesn't feel good. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing for the past 2 months, is dealing with MS, and now back to the drawing board. So please let me know what y'all want to know about MS. I can talk and talk about stuff I have experienced. Like, I've really just experienced and lived through MS, like, to the realest form, because I just wanted to know exactly what does this disease do to my body, and how can I combat it. So yeah, so leave me a comment. Let me know what you want to know about next, or what you want to talk about next. I think definitely I will do a video on, like, medication, since this is what I'm doing, but also, like, the things that I do outside of my medication. So yeah, thank you for watching, and y'all have a good day.